Almost every client who calls me from out of state wanting to move to Charleston has the exact same fantasy. They want a house where they can wake up, walk down a long wooden dock with a cup of coffee, hop in their 24-foot center console and be out chasing redfish in 5 minutes. It's the ultimate Charleston dream. But out here, water isn't just a view. It's a highly regulated, mathematically complicated, and fiercely protected piece of real estate. Buying a waterfront home isn't like buying a house with a bigger backyard. You're literally buying a relationship with the moon, the tides, and the state government. I'm Derek, and with my wife Sarah, we're Team Wacaster, Charleston Realtors with Keller Williams. Today I'm coming to you straight from the Stono River. We aren't touring houses. We're going to look at the water itself. We'll decode the difference between deep water and a tidal creek, explain why buying a waterfront house without a dock permit is financial roulette, and talk about the harsh reality of marina wait lists in 2026. Welcome to the Holy City from the water's edge. When you look at a listing online, waterfront is a very generous term. In Charleston, you need to understand exactly what kind of water you're buying because it dictates what kind of boat you can own and when you can actually use it. True deep water is the absolute gold standard. It means that even at negative low tide in the dead of winter, your boat is still floating at the end of the dock. You can leave at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. You're paying an absolute premium for this freedom, usually $1 million premium just for the dirt. A big percentage of our waterfront homes sit on tidal creeks. This means you're living on the moon schedule. In Charleston, we have a 5 to 6 foot tidal swing every 6 hours. For half the day, you have a beautiful, navigable waterway. For the other half, you have a mud flat and your boat is sitting directly on the dirt. If you buy a heavy offshore boat that draws 24 inches of water and your creek only has 18 inches at low tide, congratulations. You now own a very expensive fiberglass lawn ornament for 4 hours a day. If you want to go to dinner by boat at 6 p.m., but low tide's at 6:30 p.m., you're staying home and ordering pizza. Oh, and if you're living on the water, you need to know about a thing called pluff mud. When that tide goes out, it exposes pluff mud. To a tourist, it smells like a mixture of sulfur and decaying marsh grass. But to a local, that's the smell of a multi-million-dollar view. Pluff mud isn't like normal mud. It is a gelatinous, knee-deep vacuum. If you jump off your dock at low tide thinking you're going to take a nice romantic stroll through the marsh, you will absolutely lose your shoes, and you might need the fire department to pull you out. Seriously, just a few years ago, a guy running from the cops thought he'd take a shortcut through the marsh. The pluff mud did the hard work and arrested him. Let's roll some of the footage I grabbed out on the water earlier and do a quick speed tour. The vibe of the water changes drastically depending on which type environment you buy into, and you really have two main options. If you want to be close to the waterfront restaurants, harbor views, and the energy of the city, you're looking at our primary channels and deeper creeks. It's an incredible lifestyle, but inventory here is notoriously tight. Plus, you have to remember that you're sharing that water. If you buy a spot on a popular, navigable creek, you're going to be running a daily obstacle course of paddleboarders, kayakers, and floating tiki huts just to get your boat out to the open water. If your priority is privacy, where you have ancient oak trees draped in Spanish moss right at the water's edge, much like where I'm standing today, you'll be looking farther out along the winding tidal rivers like the Stono River here, or Bohicket Creek. Out here, you trade immediate downtown access for a much more peaceful, deep nature vibe. The commute into the city by car might test your patience on a Tuesday morning, but your weekend commute by boat is absolutely spectacular. Let's keep rolling. This is the most important part of this video. If you find a waterfront house that doesn't currently have a dock, and the listing agent casually says, "Oh, you can just build one," run. Building a dock in Charleston isn't just about hiring a contractor to hammer some pilings into the mud. You have to appease a four-headed bureaucratic monster. Let's break down exactly who controls your backyard. The Bureau of Coastal Management. These are the folks who draw the critical line, which maps exactly where the high tide hits your grass. They issue the permits for coastal and marshland areas. If your proposed dock crosses your neighbor's imaginary water property lines, or if the creek's too narrow, they'll deny it to protect the ecosystem. Then there's the Army Corps of Engineers. They oversee permits regarding navigable waters and wetlands. If your proposed dock extends too far into a channel and impedes a 16-foot John boat from passing through at low tide, the federal government is going to step in. The City of Charleston or your local municipality handles the actual building permits, zoning, and setbacks. And if you happen to live in a protected zone like the Ashley River Scenic District, prepare for an entirely separate layer of strict historical regulations. Finally, because this is the South, your homeowners association's architectural review board will absolutely want to say, they might not care about the wetlands, but they will definitely care if the stain on your handrails doesn't match the community aesthetic. Never ever buy a waterfront home assuming you can build a dock unless the seller has an active, fully approved permit from the necessary agencies in hand at closing. Even if they had one 10 years ago, if it expired, you're starting from scratch. Buying a multi-million-dollar waterfront house without a dock permit is like buying a Ferrari without an engine, and then having 4 different government agencies tell you that you aren't allowed to buy an engine anyway. It looks great in the driveway, but you're never going to get to drive it. So, what if you have a budget that buys you a great house inland, but you still want to get out on the water? You might think, I'll just keep it at a marina. In 2026, getting a wet slip or a dry stack spot in Charleston is harder than getting your kid into an elite private preschool. The wait list for places like Bristol Marina, Ripley Light, or the City Marina can be months or years long. You have to call and get on these lists the absolute second you decide you're moving here. The most realistic option for most newcomers is keeping your boat on a trailer in your driveway, assuming your HOA allows it, and using the public boat landings. If you choose the trailer life, prepare yourself. A Charleston public boat ramp on a Saturday in July is a gladiatorial arena. It's where marriages are tested and fiberglass is sacrificed. You will be expected to back a trailer down a slippery concrete ramp into a ripping tide while 40 sunburned locals watch you and judge your steering angle. Practice in an empty parking lot on a Tuesday before you try it at Wapu Cut on a holiday weekend. Living on the water in Charleston is an incredible privilege, but it requires a strategic, highly knowledgeable approach to the market. Team Wacaster can help you not just move to Charleston, but the right part of Charleston for you. If you're planning a move and the water is calling your name, reach out to us. We'll send you our updated 2026 Charleston City Guide that highlights some of our Charleston favorites, and we'll help you find a home that actually fits your nautical dreams. Take care, and I'll see you out there on the water.